Professor Uma Chattopadhyay to speak on this scheduled topic. Welcome, Madam. Welcome, Madam Chattopadhyay, and over to Madam, sir. Over to Madam.
Madam, please unmute yourself, madam. Please unmute.
Namaste and namaskar to everyone. I'm obliged and really feeling obliged by your invitation. And Professor Indu introduced me to this forum, and I was so happy with the idea that philosophy family by Odisha, they are doing well, organizing many programs, and I got the chance to present some of my ideas on this issue. I'm particularly thankful to Professor Kailash Chandra Maharana, the coordinator. He was introducing me, host Professor P.K. Dash, and moderator Professor K.O. Narayanan Rao. Thank you so much. I was also enjoying this, our young scholar, young teacher, Ashoka Tarai, was nice, debating on the issue of secularism. Now I am going to present defending secularism. My presentation finally will reach to the context of India, how to defend secularism in India, which is full of diversity. The nation is full of diversity. So thank you so much, and I want your patience hearing. I don't know whether Indu is there, Professor Indu Khanduri is there. I wanted her presence. Anyway, I'm starting my paper.
She is present, madam. She is present.
Yes. The title itself shows that the speaker here is going to defend secularism. But is it really a problem for us when our existence in India is the existence in a secularist country? We are living in the secularist country. The word secularism has become cliche to all of us, as all the time we are experiencing the violation of secularist stand in our country or on the globe. So we don't find that we are really existing in the secularist state. Even then, we need to say that there is no other alternative than secular nation, or to accept secularism. There is no other way in the diversity. When this is the situation, then what I need to say is, what is my objective here? If secularism we can't avoid, if we are to accept secularism, but in accepting secularism we are facing so many trouble in our country and on the globe, then what will be our way out? The speaker here needs to say that secularism is a foreign concept. Basically, it is a foreign concept to us. Secondly, objective is to show in which way we can understand secularism in Indian context and can think for the betterment of our existence. In a better way, we can understand secularism. Several meanings can be located within the broad concept of secularism. They are both philosophical and historical. Our general discussions on the issue of secularism only touch the surface of the idea of secularism, cannot touch the highly complex area of secularism. So we do not get an acceptable answer in relation to the problems relating to secularism. So always is the problem relating to the concept of secularism. Secularism, so many writings, Partho Chattopadhyay, Ashish Nandi, etc., referred by Professor Tarai, Ashoka Tarai. Even then, we don't find a very clear idea what I am supposed to do in this country. Is there anything to do, or can I contribute something to the country? No, our answer is always coming no. So, the secularism addresses the issue between religion and state, the most vital issue. It is a particular idea, particular concept, as I was telling, that between the religion and the state. Focus of secularism is to separate the state from religion. This word is very, very important, the word religion. It made all the crises, I think, in our understanding of secularism. Everyone in the state is free to choose what to believe or what not to believe, though within the law, of course. So here, or by secularism, everyone is protected, even when one does not accept any religion whatsoever. So everyone is free in that way. He may not accept any religion. Not only this, secularism advocates that neither the state will involve itself in religion, nor the religion will involve itself in state matter. So they are totally two compartments. Nobody will interfere in the works or the duties of the other. So secularism makes separation of state and religion. This will provide more effective democracy according to the thinkers. In democracy, this should be, everyone should be free. Not only that, there will be one law for all, and everyone will be equal before the law. No difference. On the side of religion, everyone will be free to practice their faith. Acceptance of religion is also free in the secularist country. Accepting of or denying of religion should not give them any disadvantage in the society. Everyone will get his due advantage. Accordingly, a secular state is to take care of both believer and non-believer of religion. Every individual or group should have equitable access to government influence and resources, be they political, legislative, or financial. Every aspect of life, they are to get their benefit. So there no religion is to be considered and from which religion is coming. The concept of secularism, the separation between state and religion, is rooted in European culture, mostly the church-dominated countries. Here is the problem. The problem starts from this particular point, I think, when I go through this secularism, the problem of secularism. The concept of secularism came from the European country, particularly from England. The secularism means the separation of religion and state. The term secularism was introduced by George Holyoake in 1846 in England to make the state free from the church dominated, and it had increasing influence in the society. So this is very, very important point to note. And we have taken the word secularism from there only. It was not our terminology. In Indian culture and heritage, there was no such word as secularism because it is an English word, very simple. We are not to use this, this secularism term. But here an important point to note that there is difference between secularism and secularization. Secularization and secularism. UK is not basically secular. They are guided by the church, Pope. But the state rules are secularized. The rules are secularized. So in case of ruling the country, no religion is considered, but Christianity is very prominent in English country, particularly in England. That means all believers and non-believers of Christianity get the same benefit from the state laws. This is the standard in this European country, particularly in England. Here the important point to note is this: secularism does not mean atheism. Non-believing of religion is not secularism. So a secularist can be believer or can be non-believer of God or religion. This secularism is also not equal with humanism. Humanism addresses how to live the good life without religion. So one can be humanist, secularist, and atheist at the same time. To note, humanist, secularist, and atheist. non-believer of religion at the same time, and also can be secularist and theist. One is secularist, at the same time can be also theist. So in both the ways we can have the freedom in case of this secularism. Now, when we come to see the condition of our own country of India, we see that the word secular originally was not written in the constitution. We had no such word when the first constitution was. This constitute the laws or the these things, laws, etc., were introduced in the constitution. There was no such word secular. Partition brought the notion, and to save the large community of Muslim minority, introduction of secularism became the need of the situation. As we know that constitution or the laws, etc., or everything there in the mundane world for the benefit of citizens, and time to time the different needs come, and we amend the rules and we create the rules by consultation of the members of assembly. So when the situation came in this way after partition, then the question of secularism came, because major portion of these citizens became Muslim, but they were minority. And Constitution of India did not erect any wall. Even then, Constitution of India never erected any wall of separation between religion and state. Actually speaking, in Indian context, there was no need for erecting the wall between state and religion. The reason for this is our terminology corresponding to religion is dharma. We never use the word religion. We debate Ashish Nandi and Partho Chattopadhyay, they are all the time are using the word religion. But religion is not our word, because we are not English speaking. And every word has its own connotation. As philosophy and darshana, they two are, we usually use them synonymously, philosophy and darshan, but they have different connotations. So in the same way, religion and dharma, they are the synonymous words we use in our ordinary usages, but they have different connotations. So this is I want to note in my presentation. The reason for this is our terminology corresponding to religion is dharma. But the terms religion and dharma are not synonymous. Their connotations are different. Accordingly, if the state is to be differentiated from dharma, the state will be dharma nirapeksha, or dharma bihino, without any dharma. But now the question becomes inevitable. Are we able to exist dharma nirapeksha country, or the country without any dharma? In Indian context, dharma has two sides, the rituals and the committed activities. India is full of diversity. So many religious peoples are there, citizens are there, and they have their own dharmas. There are many dharmas in India. We know Buddha dharma, Jaina dharma, Sikh dharma, Islam dharma, Sanatan dharma, Hindu, and also Christian dharma. The performances of rituals vary in their nature, but in the second aspect, so rituals are different. But the second aspect of the dharma means the duties, the commitment. If once we look to this aspect, we see that all the dharmas are providing the way of meaningful life by their own rituals and their commitments to their own family, for their own this refinement, and also for the whole community, both man, animals, and plants. So when we are performing not the religion, only to visit the church, not that. We are performing our real dharma. We are truthful, we are virtuous, we want to become a kind of transcendence we feel in the individual level, in the group level. It is not only merely a collection of rituals. No, not that. No religion will say that you do some dishonesty or you violate the ethical principles. So ethics, morality, and dharma can be taken together. So dharma is like that. When in Mahabharata we find the statement of Gandhari, he was making to Duryodhana was this, that you know the story that Duryodhana all the time was asking to his mother that what will be the result, Mummy, what will be the result of this war? The single answer Gandhari was giving, Jato dharmas tato jayat. Where there is dharma, truthfulness, duty, and virtue, there is success. She was not telling that you will fail, you will not be successful, or you will be successful. No. But if there is dharma, there will be the success. Means dharma is so what is dharma? Religion and dharma, they are two. Dharma is the way of living. It's a particular way of living. I'm performing dharma means I'm a particular way of living. Whether it is in Buddhism, Buddhist dharma, or it is in Sanatana dharma. All the dharmas in India, directly or indirectly, are rooted in the Sanatana dharma. That is another debate. I'm not going to that. But it is a way of living. So I'm doing dharma at my place, at my home, in my residence, but I'm performing due to some reasons or others, dharma in my professional place. That is not the performance of dharma, right? So just the believing, just the faith, as Professor Tarai was telling, that religion is generally conscious way of thinking is like that. The religion is a faith. But we have no such idea only of faith. It is not faith, it is rationally rooted activities. When we do religion, that means when we do dharma, we are performing something according to our own these ideas, and which is rationally rooted. Without reason, we cannot perform the dharma. Without the virtuous character is not possible without reason. It is not something very emotional. It is not something that as if I'm doing this at this moment and doing not in another time. Know that. And also there we find the dilemma of dharma. As we see that Arjuna was facing that dilemma of dharma, which I am to do, which I am not to do. Am I to do this or am I not to do this? So dilemma is always there, and we need to solve the dilemma by this way or that way. But which will be, the dilemma will be solved only with reference to dharma, the truth. Right? So the point is truthfulness, etc. Here adharma means the unfair means absence of truthfulness, etc. So the success is related to dharma, whether that is the success of individual or of the group. If there is a failure which is following dharma, that failure we will define that as a success. The dharma shafulya. He is really a performer of dharma. But by cheating, by doing mischiefs, I am a successful person. That according to our dharma, or according to the dharmika person, will not be considered as a truthful person, as a dharmic person. The stories of Mahabharata and Ramayana show this success of dharma. All the stories we find, adharma is also performed by many, as we know, but dharma is shown there by the activities of the individual, which is not religion of West, but that is not religion. Ramayana, Mahabharata stories cannot be considered as religion, only the faith or performance or following some rules of given by the church. No. Blind following of dharma is not dharma. It is rationally rooted and emotionally supported. If I don't find tarkena anusandhate, we have to understand dharma by tarka, no doubt. But then we need to get the support from the literature. So, dharma actually is part and parcel of the human individuals of the country. Our India is beautiful and will exist because of its dharma, nothing other. That is not religion of the West, but its own dharma. Our land is a land of dharma. So in each voluntary action, we cannot avoid performing dharma or adharma. Nothing is left to our mere emotions, but our thought process should be rooted in dharma, the moral duties. This in turn will make us happy. If I do the dharma actions, we are self-satisfied that I have done this. No conscience, no pricking of the conscience. I don't find any crisis in my conscience. This is a truthful action I have done. The individuals, when we find that some people are satisfied with by doing these immoral actions, we know that actually are not happy. They have the crisis. Either today or tomorrow they will simply confess that. In my own life experience, I have seen this type of persons that done something wrong, finally came to confess that. I've done something wrong, you please, no, I am not the person for you. What you have done is correct. That was the situation for you. No. So what is the philosophy? What comes from that? That when we do something wrong, we ourselves can understand that I'm doing wrong. Nobody is to detect that. This is so clear. And in some cases, when we find that I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do and what I'm doing, then I can consult whom I'm to consult, that I'm telling later on. So the point, in each voluntary action, we cannot avoid performing dharma or adharma. We are voluntary actions are involving our dharma or we are involving adharma. But our thought process should be rooted in dharma, the moral duties. This in turn will make us happy. The individuals of the society are existing only for food, sleep, and external enjoyment. The individuals of the society are not existing only for this. They're getting food, they're getting sleep, and they're getting external enjoyment. Nowadays, education or by the gift from the government, this way or that way. That is not the proper way of living of the individuals. All the time supported by this handful of rice or handful of this dal, etc., etc. Only we are giving lessons to the BPL persons to beg. We need beggars. This is not dharma buddhi. We should give them the job. We should give them something when they will do something for the country or for the state itself or for the locality. We can provide so many jobs, and instead of that, we can provide them some food. But we are giving them the lesson in the secular country to become only the beggars. A small quantity of individuals are becoming learned, educated, and getting the job. And even also they are not getting the job after education. They are neither able to beg nor able to get the job. This is the state of secular country. But this is not acceptable in our tradition. Everyone is to do something. And by honesty, when they will get the money, that will be the pure money because they are doing dharma and getting money. We should give, the state should give the lessons to them. Do something at least, and then you get money. That will make their character much more better and will leave to understand that they are the beggars. They always think that we are beggars. We have to beg. And by the taxpayers, money will be given to them. They will be helped by the taxpayers' money. This is now the situation in the our state or even in the country. That is not dharma. So we have lost our dharma in the constitution itself. Our constitution is not by the dharma. The individuals of the society are existing only for food, sleep, and external enjoyment. But those activities are dharma, though which individuals are, but they should perform the dharma. A particular way of living they should perform, to which they will reveal their devoto. Because as Swami Vivekananda has repeatedly told that humanity is within, we have to reveal ourselves. And we are suppressed, we are with reference to religion or the reference to that and this and etc. We are not able to reveal this humanity. By just giving the help to the people, we cannot reveal the humanity of the individuals. Our youngsters, young students, when they reveal their personality, coming from a very poor background, we are happy to see that. They are revealed, their personality is revealed. They will be able to conquer anything and everything. And they do. So not by begging, not by doing dishonesty, but by giving them the proper way of living, we can reveal their devoto. And that can be done only by the dharma buddhi, not the adharma buddhi. We are doing adharma. Our state is also following the same. Our country is also following the same. So how can we get the dharma buddhi? It is lacking. So here is with the reference to this religion, actually not performing our dharma properly. But in that we know that Gandhari was telling all the time, Jato dharmos tato jayat. Dharma, if there is dharma, there is success. And we have to understand peace in a very, very particular way. One discussion can be done what is dharma. But at least a rough idea is this, that honesty, values, truthfulness, these are the way of living, and that is dharma. Not something foreign, not to bring from others, nothing else. Anyone can be dharmic if he is performing these activities. And maybe a believer may not be a believer of God or the other religion. Only performing his religion within himself, doing this, a very pure life he is leading. There are many in our country itself we can find. So Satya, Rito, Tapasya, the qualities of Ahimsa, and we know at least roughly it is the individuals are revealed in their individuals level by the qualities of Ahimsa, non-injury, truth, Satya, Rito, Tapasya. Through these, the individuals, the group will be emancipated. And emancipation is the vision for the constitution. Emancipation, everyone. Swamiji has narrated that emancipation of one is not enough. Emancipation of everyone of the country, right? So, and these qualities will cross the boundary of the state to the globe and will put a harmonious existence. Dharanad dharma ityahu dharma dharayati praja. This is in the Karna Parva of Mahabharata. That dharana, etc., all these will sustain the country and sustain the countrymen. We are the simple projas, the countrymen. Dharma only will keep them alive, give them the glory, give them the happiness. If question arises regarding the dharma, that is which one need to perform, one is to follow the advice of emancipated. It is given in Mahabharata Bonoparvo. Tarko pratishta mahajana jeno gatasa panta. How can we understand what is dharma? We are always in confusion. We find in this text of this Bimal Krishna Motilal that dilemmas are there always in Mahabharata. How to solve the dilemmas? Arjuna has dilemmas. We have time. We are all Arjunas. We are all Arjuna. We are performing at our residence, at our home, in the professional world, in the state level, country level. Always we are in different positions. We face the dilemma. But we need to solve the dilemmas. They are all the moral dilemmas or the dharma dilemmas. What I am supposed to do? What is my dharma in this particular situation? In that case, we can consult the teachers, rishis. Teacher is not and that means master, not like duster, the real master. We have to search. Krishna was that real master. Even now we can find such masters in our community, in our near and from our near and dear ones, we find such persons. We'll give you the real consultancy of that. Not the lawyer, not any qualified persons, but any person, but having this vision for the far. So, Tarko Pratishta Mahajana Jeno Gato Sapanta. If I don't find anyone, then I'm to follow the Mahajana path. The path that is given by these persons who are Mahajan means not the sailors, but Sreshthor, that means the virtuous persons. And we can find among the ordinary men. To find out a virtuous persons, we need not to go to the Himalaya or any hill or regarding any to any ashramas. If we look, if we see, we can find the virtuous persons from among the ordinary people only. And Mahajano Gata, and but that he is a Mahajano, it will be proved, it is proved. We can find many evidences that he is a Sreshto, he is good, he is virtuous. We can get the consultation from your family, In many times we can find our parents are giving that consultation, which is far-reaching, which has far-reaching consequence. This is our duty, this is our dharma, nothing more than that. So we need not to go to the church weekly, or need not go to the temples weekly, or need not go to any institutions for that. Dharma is very individualistic, also in a group, also in the individual level. But it is performance of the duties, all the good duties. As a teacher, I am to perform the duties, real duties. As a family person, mother, I am to do my duties. As my mother-in-law, I am to do my duties. As wife, I am to do my duties. So we have full of duties, and performance of duties and balancing of duties is our dharma, nothing more than that. After that, I can be believer of God or may not be believer of God. That is a secondary matter. But if someone is like that, he will surrender himself at the feet of someone. That is dharma in Indian context. That is maybe the Bauddha dharma or the Jain dharma or the Hindu Sanatana dharma. Is a dharma by Shankaracharya, whatever that may be. We have no problem. So religion is not something foreign to us. So this is true, that situation that jad jadacharati sreshthastad itarojana sajat pramanam kurute lokostad anubartate. Sajat pramanam kurute lokostad anubartate. This is very, very important. That we are not able to find all the time the scriptures. We cannot search, we cannot see. But if I find a virtuous person, understand and verify that the virtuousness, then I can follow. Lokostad anubartate. The people will follow him and will get the... There are many stories. If we follow, there is, I don't know in other Hindi language or the other languages, we can find those books. That Bharate Shadhok, etc. The series of books are there. We can find that truthful persons, that persons, spiritual persons, religious persons, and they are to us dharmika persons. So Mahajana persons are those, and Mahajana Gatasa Pantha. We are to follow those paths. If I am not able to find out the real path, real road, real way for me in my ordinary life. So, but the question comes to this. The situations are always changing. So is there any fixed dharma for us, all of us? It is always changing, context is changing, so how to accept one dharma? No, that is also there given. We have also the chance, yes. According to the situation, we need to do the different actions. But Shatata, some virtuous qualities are always very permanent. I can do many things, what I am not doing today, can do tomorrow. But that must be something which is virtuous. Will not give me any conscience, picking the conscience that I have done something wrong. If we have any other discussions, the platform for discussion, I can give you many examples to show that in our ordinary life we are facing so many times this paradox of duty, dharma, this debate, and we solve that in different ways, keeping ourselves in the dharma path, the real path, the real honesty, real virtue, everything. Context differs, situations are different, but what I am supposed to do, I am to do that accordingly. I can consult, I can think over the point, I can have a vision of the future, what will happen by my activity. And that will give us the real personality. That will give us the boldness. We only utter the names of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose or Swami Vivekananda or many others. But in case of ourselves, we are so small thing seekers that we can't leave anything, only to get something. The chairs and powers and these things, they are so attractive for us. We can't leave anything. We are always afraid, we are shaky. Harai harai shadamne hai, harai feli chokit. It is uttered by Tagore. All the time we are feeling shaky. If I lose something, if I lose that webinar, if I lose that invitation from that high power person. So let us be quiet. Don't go for the ethics, morality or dharma. Keep that aside. you go on and keep on. This is not an Indian person should be bold, not was bold. Now at this moment we should be bold in our dharma. No compromise. Here there is no compromise, and this is our dharma, not the Western religion visiting the church or visiting the mandirs. No. So this is the true that the situation always is changing, but the spirit of Indian dharma, particularly to mention Sanatana dharma, remains the same. All other dharmas are also followed. If I again get another forum, we can make the ideas clear. I am to search the literature also immensely. That all the dharmas, Buddha, Jaina, etc., they are rooted actually in the Sanatana dharma, Vedika dharma. So we can't avoid that. Either this way or that way, indirectly or directly, we are rooted in the same spot. We are making differences over the times only. So accordingly, the state laws should be rooted in the spirit of dharma. Secularism was not there in the original constitution of India. It was inserted. But even then, no veil was given between religion and this state, because our religion is not Christianized religion. Our religion is dharma. Dharma is always with us. I am the individual. When I am living in the state, I am a dharmic. When I am living at my family, with the family members, I am a dharmic. I cannot avoid dharma. I am keeping my dharma inside and going without the dharma to follow the state laws. No, our state laws also will be rooted in the dharma. It should not make anybody to suffer by the laws. One is free in choosing his duties, and when the duties are by the dharma. So dharma buddhi is always should be with us. We cannot avoid the dharma buddhi. And if that is the dharma buddhi, where is the difference between the dharma and this state? State should be guided by the dharma. And we know from the history that in all these regimes by this renowned in Mahabharata or in Ramayana or in other cases, Akbar even had a very good ministers. Always there must be the very learned persons to give him the counseling regarding the laws of the country, right? And we know that Bidur was the person. The honesty to any extent was giving the dharma buddhi of the Raja, the king. And we know also the dharma buddhi was given by this what is known, in case of Duryodhana was given by that dishonest person was all the time was creating the trouble for the country. So we have learned minister who has the vision and mission for the country. Not in this way. We have no such persons in the assembly you can find that give all the time the spiritual persons should the very honest that Mahajana persons must be there to give the proper, to make the laws which will give the peace and the pomper of the society of the country. So that everyone will be emancipated. The emancipation of everyone will the emancipation of the country. Otherwise, it is not possible. Religion will be there, I am here. And the state is running with the secularism, with the concept of the Western thought. No. So, there is no dharma viruddha laws with the state laws. No dharma viruddha laws. No laws will be against the dharma. At least should not be. The country can be made a dharma rajya, and a kind of secularism also will be maintained. So the rajya or the country will be dharma rajya. And accordingly, secularism will be maintained properly. The secularism not in the sense of the European, but in the Indian sense. So there is no wall between the dharma and the state, but they have a reconciliation. No wall is needed. It will be with that. So one is a person in the state, a stakeholder of the state, but at the same time can be dharmic. And he is existing in the secular country. Means there is a difference between that Western concept of religion and the state. But giving harmony to the state, giving peace and pleasure to everyone, every group, every section of the country, and give peace to the country. And will give this will be given to the other countries of the world. And Bharat abar Jagata Sabhay Sreshto Ashono Lobe. This was written by Atul Prasad Sen in Bengal. Now Bharat can be, because Bharat has, India has this dharma, not the religion. And with this, India can rise. I'm not following any particular color or anything. I'm just a philosophy student like that. I think and rethink and rethink on the issues, given issues. So how it will get the Sreshto Ashram, the best seat in the country? Because it will follow the dharma in every aspect of life, whether it is personal life or it is public life or state life or the positional life, right? So I think we have no problem with secularism, but we have problem secularism in the Western contemporary sense. And in India, there is no terminology like secular. It was a need in between. It came, even then we can maintain our country by the dharma without raising any curtain between dharma and the state. Without raising any country, or if we raise any country to make the country secular in the Western sense, then we are only to be careful to take the decisions which will hurt any religion. But by the name of religion, people are doing something wrong. So check will be there. We are to give the lessons of religion to everyone. That is also the responsibility of the state. We can find the real religions in any religion are not harmful, but uneducated, non-religious, the so-called religious persons, they create trouble in the society. In every case, in each and every case, that is the point, right? In case of Durga Puja, you know, just coming, the puja will start with the microphone sound. At one time, I used to think that for 4 days, I can do my academic works. But later on, I came to the decision that within these 4 days, I can't do not even this listen, enjoy my bhajans, etc. Because microphone is so loud. Is this the part of religion? Is this the part of spirituality? If the state take this step, that no microphone will be provided. No, please don't use microphone, because there are persons who are enjoying the 4 days for puja. Will think for herself, will think for himself, will rationalize what I have done for 1 year, what I'm supposed to do in the next year. No thinking, nothing. Always to keep your steps with this microphone, with these lights, etc., etc., etc. So this is my, in nutshell, many things to say, but today I'm ending my idea with this, the sentence that our dharma is not creating trouble in the society. But if we take the word religion from West European country, then the question of such kind of secularism is needed. But if we take the word dharma, it will give peace and will keep secularism properly in the true sense of the term. And everyone at that time will be a spiritual person, will be a dharmiko person. And if all are dharmikos, then there is no problem. The dharmic persons influence the others to become dharmic. It is not something very hard. It is not something very crucial or very tough to follow. No, only honesty, sincerity, commitment, and some taposha, if one is able to do that. Nothing more than that. People will be alive. People will enjoy the life. People will give enjoyment to others, and country will be happy. Thank you. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Thank you. Thank you. Namaskar.
Okay, thanks so much, Professor Chattopadhyay. Hello, am I audible?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Thanks so much, Professor Chattopadhyay, for your clear, comprehensive, and reflective talk, and a new way of looking at the concept secularism. Madam, you have not taken the religion as taken in the English terminology. You have analyzed it from Indian context, that is dharma. Madam, today the young and dynamic scholar Dr. Ashok Matarai and the senior and veteran professor like you have put your scholarly views on secularism. Oh, that is one, debating secularism and defending secularism. But today, Madam Chattopadhyay's Indian way of analyzing dharma is able to defend the true secularism as depicted in Indian scriptures, characters, and Indian value systems. Now, over to Professor Dr. K. Omanan Rao, carry on the interactive session. Over to Professor Rao.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar, everybody. We had two nice lectures on the theme secularism. One on debating secularism by Professor Tarai, and the second by defending secularism, especially in the Indian context, by Professor Uma Chattopadhyay. And both the lectures were very nice. Wherein we find from Professor Tarai that he tries to see the idea of secular as something that is prior to the very imaginary notion of secularism, and he sees secular as an epistemic category, and at the same time he says being religious and being secular, they are not mutually exclusive. Now other two points to carry on, they come forth if we take religion and secularism, being religious and on the other hand being not secular, and that leads to religious fundamentalism. And the other point is being not religious, at least not being not religious, but being secular. So that sort of people are really humanists. That's the point where I see from Uma Chattopadhyay, where she is not attaching any importance to religion. She is attaching importance to humanity, to human values, to dharma, to righteousness. So this is another position that we find in Uma Chattopadhyay. So both these talks have really added a lot of value in understanding the very idea of being secular and the notion of secularism. And if we take Dr. Tarai's other position, the anti-secularist view of Ashish Nandi, wherein we can find that Nandi is mostly concerned about things that are people-centric and states accessibility to the people's needs, and it's not religion, it's not any talk of secularism that will bring about harmony in the society, or state has a valued role in thinking of the needs of the people rather than pondering much over on secular issues on being secular and secularism. So that's the very message that we have from both the speakers. And one thing what I could see from Uma Chattopadhyay, madam, is that he makes a distinction between religion and dharma. And she says whenever there is a talk of religion, there is a conflict. But when you take dharma, that is quite original to this land. There is no conflict, because in righteousness everybody has to succumb, and everybody is there, and there is no conflict in dharma. And at the same time, she says she doesn't take dharma in an absolutist sense. She says dharma is again contextual, and that can be applied as the situation needs. And with dharma as the weapon, India can rise very high and it can grow very, very strong. So this is the idea from both the speakers that I could find out. Well, I am not going to summarize the talk. Well, it is for the participants to pose questions or make observations on both the talks. Now I request the participants here to make their own observations or raise questions on both the talks on the theme secularism. Well, I have a
sir, hello.
Yes.
So there is a question for Dr. Tarai. Please address that question first.
Yes, it is by yes, there is a question for Dr. Tarai by Neeraj Kumar Sharma, sir. Actually, it's on the last line that Dr. Tarai spoke on the definition of religion by Wittgenstein, wherein he said religion at the base is calm, the waves they come out in the ocean, and that is the place where disturbances do come. So maybe that's the question that's raised by Neeraj Sharma. He says whether Wittgenstein's idea of religion carry a sense of spirituality. So over to Dr. Tarai to respond.
Thank you, Professor Neeraj Kumar Sharma, for this question. You see, Wittgenstein has never defined a religion. So he only writes here and there. And if I understand the early Wittgenstein's perspective on religion, he tries to situate the idea of religion in the realm of what he calls is transcendental. Right? So this is again, what is the idea of transcendental here? It is that in one of the lectures that he presented in Cambridge during 1930s, I suppose, yeah, exactly 1929, where he said the feeling of absolute guilt, right, it's something that regenerates the idea of a religious self. And this is something I take highly spiritual. So it is not that you are merely participating in religious activities or so on, but you are constantly engaged in understanding the value of those rituals, which are very much there in his later philosophy, that is philosophical investigations. And from where Talat Asad also takes clue of that anthropological study of religion. Now, so you can say, yes, he is trying to understand religion from that perspective. There is also another biographical mode that Wittgenstein seems to have presented. There is only one Indian direct student of Wittgenstein. His name is Professor K.J. Shah, and they used to go for evening walks and morning walks. So it seems, which has been reported by his biographer, who has written this book called The Great Genius, Raymond, yes. In that book, he mentions that Professor K.J. Shah tried to ridicule the idea of Jainism that is there in India. So Wittgenstein was very mad at him. So Wittgenstein says, no, don't ever try to do that. No matter what kind of religion it is, try to get into it. And this is something that, motivates someone to understand it. So yes, you are quite right that maybe he is trying to understand religion, not only as just a social institution, but something that we deeply engage with. Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Tarai, for your response. Well,
Dr. Rao.
Yes.
There is one question asked by Srinivasan ji.
Yes, it is by one by Indu Khanduri madam also. Indu Khanduri madam, I will take. Then Krishnamurti.
May I ask one question?
Yes, sir. But, sir, can we wait for 1 minute, sir? Let us take one question from the chat.
No. Please allow, Dr. Tandon.
Okay, sir. Allow, sir. Yes, sir. Namaskar, sir. Welcome, sir.
Namaskar. I think today the two lectures have left us a bit confused, because the first one was debating secularism, but it is something against secularism. And the second one, which was defending secularism, is actually defending dharma, not secularism. So this is just a comment, but now I must make some observation and a question also. My observation is...
Sorry, sir. First one I couldn't hear you properly. The first one I missed out. Could you please repeat it, sir?
No, leave that. That was simply a comment. You are not defending, or you are simply debating. It is not clear. We are left very much confused. The second speaker is also defending dharma, not secularism. Are you defending secularism, or you are not defending secularism? It is not clear at all. So we are left confused. Now the question is, my observation is that we have to take the difference of context from Europe to India in a very serious way, which both the speakers have not taken in. Because there it was the conflict between the church and the state. Here that conflict is not there. Here the context of secularism is that there is diversity of religions, and these religious people, they quarrel, they fight. They fight among themselves. So the role of state here is not the watertight separation of religion and state as it is in Europe. So unless and until we take into the consideration the reference into the context of both the societies, we cannot understand the need of secularism in India. Now, when you talk about the problem of cultural identity and the issue of secular state, I think here you are making a mistake of conflating secularism with a very thick notion of, you can say, a way of good life. That is not there. Secularism is simply a strategy for the state regarding its citizens to keep the issues of religion apart. Now here in India, we cannot talk about watertight separation, nor we can talk about some sort of acceptance of dharma or religion, anything. Here we talk about the principled distance. We have talked about that book with Rajiv Bhargav. So Rajiv Bhargav's notion of secularism is the principled distance of the state from religions. And this principled distance is variable in certain cases because state has got the right to interfere. And this interference is needed because our society is existing in various layers. It is in 16th century to 21st century. So many times state has to intervene into certain religious practices. So the whole idea of secularism in India was taken as a sarva dharma samabhav, not as a separation. But still, this sambhav is not very well defined. Now we have to take a principled distance from all the religions, and then only we can talk about secularism in India. Now the question is, when secularism is a very thin idea, how to deal with this issue of cultural identity, which is becoming more and more difficult to deal with, because the whole of the politics is being run according to this idea of religious identity. So you are very much right that the problem is in the sociological understanding of religion, not in the metaphysical understanding of religion, where we talk about dharma. And this idea of identity, that is the religious-based cultural identity and the religious-based cultural community, is causing havoc to the peace of the nation. And how a secularist thin idea can deal with that is very, very much problematic. I agree with you, but for me, the idea of secularism is not to be thrown away, but we have to learn to deal with this issue of cultural identity in a more serious manner, and then we will have to think about what is culture and what is Indian culture, and how culture can lead to killing also. This whole idea of cultural identity, as Amartya Sen has said, that can kill also. It may be very enabling. It can be very helpful in living a good life, but it can kill the others. So the valorizing the idea of cultural identity has got its own dangers, and we have to think about culture in a new manner, not in a manner, essentialist manner, in which the culture was kept in some old books and old past. It is to be seen as something historical. It is to be seen as something trans-cultural. It has to be seen as being made again and again every day. Only then we can live with a cultural identity as well as secularism. If we take this cultural identity as a very hard, finished, rigid, living in the past, then there is no future for secularism in India. one majoritarian cultural identity will try to dominate other identities, and that will play havoc with the whole constitution and the whole society. That is my submission. Thank you.
Over to Dr. Tarai. Do you want to respond to Professor?
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Tandon. I think it is well put, and you have very well pointed out certain pertinent issues about the idea of secularism, particularly about the Indian idea of secularism. And I completely agree with you that we need to talk about these things seriously. Now, I will just point out 2 or 3 points that you have raised about the confusion. Sir, actually, I did not talk about secularism much, though conceptually I talked about it, but whether for or against, knowingly, because I take it in this way, this is a political arrangement. And without that, you cannot have any alternative political arrangement. The other political arrangement that we have is theocracy, which is really, really a bad thing to have. For example, look at Saudi Arabia, look at the theocratic states that we have. So I'm not at all rejecting the idea of secularism, because I am for it. So though I did not argue for it. But my point is, given the understanding that we have a political arrangement which has to be constantly debated and so on, there is no doubt about it. But at the same time, as you have also pointed out, that we need to also understand the human subjects, those who are involved in a particular society, particular culture, be it religion, be it tradition, be it anything. We need to understand that. And therefore, I found it very interesting, Talal Asad and Ashish Nandi are doing the same thing. So the political arrangement is the umbrella thing, but within that, we also need to negotiate, we need to also talk about these things. And these are all empowering things. Okay? So, and I am at the same time, I'm also not celebrating them. Please try to, that is why I said it is an epistemic category. So I'm not trying to celebrate, okay, the culture is something that is very good and so on. No. So as you have rightly pointed out, that culture can, of course, it can kill us. Okay, the same culture, can be very glorious. It can also, kill us. There is no doubt about it. And in that particular context, when you talk about this engagement or the epistemic category, so this epistemic category involves 2 essential points that I did not mention in my lecture. And those are like that we try to understand something from a propositional point of view, which means that we try to understand a belief either to be true or false. So that's a propositional categorization of our epistemology, right? Now, the other idea of epistemology is this, that we can also try to understand the deep-rooted idea of love, compassion, passion that are already available in the human societies, in the forms of culture, in the forms of rituals, in the form of religiosity, or so on. So I am not interested in the first category. Of course, it is helpful. Okay, so you have to negotiate with that first category when there is a tension. So the culture should not kill us in that way. So the first epistemic category is important, but it is more important to understand the second one. So it is always a constant debate between these two and constant engagement. So I try to make a point about secular from these 2 perspectives. So that is something that I wanted to make. Now, about the context, the Eastern context and Western context, yes, you have very well pointed out that, yes, the context is completely different, and it is the French Revolution, and all of us, we know that the just domination, and then, the Enlightenment and all these things came up, the modern democracy, the talk about nation state, and they have a context of putting secularism there, right? So there is no doubt about it. But in case of India, as you have rightly pointed out, that we do not have that case, that historical context. We have a different historical context, and that is a diversity. Okay? That is a multiplicity of many things, right? And to negotiate that, it is Charles Taylor in his book called Secularism also suggests that, of course, we can, the idea of secularism can travel from west to east, and it can also negotiate there. Now, to this, some people, I am not sure how to counter Taylor, but some people try to criticize him by saying that, particularly Talal Asad says, that when you say that you can deal with various cultures or diversified cultures with the state functioning in a particular way, and that is called negotiation. Negotiation, or what he calls it, persuasion, right? So we need to, the state has to persuade people or negotiate with people wherever there is a kind of tension. Now, this is a problematic thing. You see, the state is not an agent. It is a collective. It is a political collective which functions with certain legitimacy, which functions with certain legitimate rules and regulations. That is the whole process of judiciary. So it ultimately, whenever you talk about negotiation and persuasion, it boils down to individual morality. It boils down to the idea of subject. So therefore, in our tradition, in our little tradition, if I take Aziz Nandi very seriously, that we need to talk about that. Okay? It has to be there in the textbook of school. Okay, it has to be it has to be taught in our university education. We need to empower that idea rather than state negotiating it. So that is my point. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tarai, for your response. But one thing still remains from what Dr. Alok Tandon has said. Well, the very general definition, as we go with the idea of the secular, that the state will not interfere in the matters of religion whatsoever. But Dr. Tandon was suggesting that when it is time, when it is required, that state needs to interfere, make necessary interference in the matters of religion whatsoever, in order to bring about a sort of uniformity in the functioning, or it should take certain steps to ensure that such interference is necessary to bring about a certain sort of equity and harmony. How do you
Definitely. So I'm concerned about how the state does it. What is the process of doing it? So is it like evolutionary, like you make it part of your education, you gradually do it, or you do it through legitimacy? So this is the question that I'm picking. So I would prefer through an evolutionary process to make individuals as individuals. So that is my own. Otherwise,
I think that is positive secularism in your context, as you earlier explained.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Tarai. Well, that's a good response. And well, I see a question by Professor Indu Khanduri. It's for Professor Uma Chattopadhyay, madam. She raises a question whether it is really possible to separate rituals that we find in different religions from the moral aspects of religion. Can you separate the rituals from the moral aspects of religion? Or do you link rituals with the moral aspects of religion? How do you say this? Professor Uma, madam. Madam, your microphone, please unmute, madam. Madam, please unmute.
Sorry. Yeah. First, I'm to ask you this question, request you to make this point, that am I to give a single comment with reference to Professor Tandon's comment, and then I go to Professor Khanduri? Yes?
Yes, carry on, madam, carry on.
Yes. Professor Tandon is very serious senior professor. I know he knows everything. So I feel a little bit embarrassed in giving this answer, that this is not very simplification in the way that we cannot leave the ideas what was given by the British. And I only suggest, I think he has already read the article Swaraj in Ideas by Krishna Chandra Bhattacharya. So we always try to follow the notions, each and every notions and ideas from foreign. We have our own land, we have our own, and we have failed to recognize or make the discussion by standing in our country and looking to our problem. So it is not in defense of dharma. No, I made the point very clear that where the religion and dharma, we use it synonymously, but they have own connotations. So it is not only defending dharma. Instead of religion, we have to use the dharma, which is more comprehensive word, which will give the space for the secularism and will not make any barrier between religion and the state. Right? Even then, we'll give the freedom to every religious person or non-religious person. So this was my humble presentation. I so don't find that it is a simple, and it is very tough to speak simply in philosophy. As Wittgenstein already he has mentioned that philosophers are very much used to do this. There is a problem, they will create much more problem in understanding the problem. So I wanted to make philosophy, this is my mission always, to make philosophy very clear to everyone. Otherwise, philosophy is unacceptable to. You know that many of the universities, they have left philosophy as a subject. Because this is our failure that we could not make philosophy very clear to each and every individual, very ordinary people. Now the time has come when we should make philosophy very simple, very interesting, and not only with the technical terms. That epistemic agent. What is the meaning of epistemic? Epistemic agent means, as Chattopadhyay was telling, the very simple term is the knower. Pramata in Sanskrit. Epistemic agent, this terminology itself giving you the tough understanding. Epistemic agent means what? Who is knowing in the epistemological concept. That means the knower, simple word I will use in that case, knower, jnata. What is the harm? We will make this idea more clearly. So this is my humble suggestion or the reaction against Professor Tandon's idea. Because we are very much sensitive. Whenever we utter the word dharma, we are in this European we have become. We think that everything is gone. No, I am also I am ready to accept, because I do both Indian and Western philosophy. I am ready to accept the good ideas. And if I find something in my land, then I should take that from my land. And if I take something, get something very novel to me in case of this understanding, then I can take from any country, no problem. So I have no such inhibition. So I can accept secularism, but I cannot accept dishonesty or so immoral values, which are actually the crux of our religion or dharma. Thank you. And the second, Professor Khanduri was telling that yes, the rituals are different from in the different religions, different. And rituals part are done by the religious, those who are performing one particular religion. And the rituals they can perform without making any difficulty to others. That is controlled by the society, the state, if that cross the boundary of ethics. For example, a single example I can give you, many examples are there. In Chhat, in Durga Puja, in Sraddh ceremony, what we do, we pour the things in the water after the program, or the idol Durga Murti. In Chhat, they throw it in the river. And nowadays, what I find in our early years, we used to see in the Chhat, that was very enjoyable ceremony. But no such madness in the program. Now we find madness. Sound pollution, water pollution, everything is done. In that case, even in Calcutta, last time or the year before that, the fence of this lake was broken. This is not ritual. They are violating, even they are not able to do the rituals. Ritual is only to go to the water and to wash and to put their puja. Excessive energy they are putting to these rituals. Rituals that have also the limitations. And if I limit, I'm violating the rituals. I'm not doing rituals. Otherwise, your ritual will not give me any pain. Your ritual will give me peace. For example, if in your ritual, I find you are putting this drawing in front of your door. It is your ritual in the morning to do in the South Indian, this culture that is there. And if I find in the morning that you are putting that and putting some water, pouring some water on these doorsteps. So that has an aesthetic value. I will see and get pleasure, and everyone will get that. Oh, so nice, so fresh. Is it creating any trouble to others? No. If my ritual is creating trouble to others, that is not ritual actually. I am violating the rules of rituals. In that case, I need to know from the learned persons. And we have the learned persons in the society. Those who know the proper rituals. The priests who know, when there is given a rule that you give some gold, a greedy priest will ask from 10 grams of gold you give. This is not ritual. What is ritual? We can see from the learned scholars of the tradition. And they are aware, even now there are. That is the most important and beautiful side of our culture. Even now there are youngsters, those who are putting to that, they are nurturing that, and they give me so many ideas of our rituals. So Professor Kandori, that is very, very important. When we cross the limit of our rituals, we create trouble to others. But if we follow the rituals properly in every religion, there is no problem. Calm and quiet existence will be possible. Society which are full of diversity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Now, well, let us take one response from, say, one comment from Dr. Ghosh, and he's there. Dr. Ghosh, you wanted to say something? Dr. Ranjit Ghosh, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. The first lecture I could not present myself, and I have heard about Professor Uma Chattopadhyay, and I also subscribe to the view of Professor Alok Tandon in this regard, because I was also thinking in the same line that merely using dharma in a generic sense with its moral implications will not solve the problems of secularism, because the problem is regarding the dharma for India, which can solve the inter-religious disharmonies. So our problem is inter-religious solidarity, which we have to definitely mention. We should not be cryptic about mentioning the particular dharma which can be all embracing, because unless that is there, the establishment of Dharma Rajya will become an utopian ideal, because it will not refer to a particular religion which is all embracing. Because we have to be committal on this issue, that which religion can actually be considered as secular in Indian context. That is my humble submission. Professor Chattopadhyay may reply to it. Thank you.
Dr. Rao.
A brief response, madam. A brief response, madam. Okay.
Dr. Rao, please stop.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We shall stop here.
Okay. Well, thank you.
We shall stop.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you so much. Am I to give give some my idea?
Okay. Please respond in few lines, ma'am. Yes.
Achha. Just trying to say that in my presentation, I also mentioned this point. Have you seen this thing that in our constitution, there is no platform for meeting the religious persons together? But when I see the autobiography or biography of Abdul Kalam, I saw that his father used to sit with the priest of this masjid and a Christian Pope of the church and his father used to sit together in the evening and used to talk and make conversation, and they were very much friendly. When someone is reaching to that level, they are so pure, they can mix with each other and they have no such this enmity in between them. But they have, this is very much painful for all of us with the ordinary, but we know something that in assembly meeting, ministers are meeting, but there is no scope for the learned persons. There should be the seat. They should sit, and people will be invited when they are making their conversations. And we can see if there can be any comprehensive rules and laws. No one religion, you can take so many things from so many religions. And if you don't get it, Sanatan Dharma is all Professor Tandon will say that you are defending Sanatan. Sanatan is it is not Hindu Dharma. It is Sanatana Dharma for everyone. So can be done. Or if they come to the conclusion, no, there are such limitations, then we can take this and can amend some constitutional rules and put that. Now this is the high time to do that. When there is problem in relation to Taliban, etc. And in our country, we find so many problems. And so only the seminars will not solve the problems. We, the educationists, will come forward and can suggest them that this is our conclusion coming from the seminars. And you please think and rethink the constitution that you are getting the seats and sitting and enjoying, but not doing something very positive for the country. You should take step for that. And you take the help of the learned. You don't need to take my help. No. You take the help of the learned, what they are telling. We are ready to accept that. This is my humble suggestion, Professor Gobas. Your this comment is very nice.
Okay, thank you. Well, before ending up, let us take one more question from Srinivasan sir. Well, you want to say something? Yes, sir. Srinivasan sir, welcome.
No, you please read it, sir, because it is a long version. I would request you to kindly read that, please.
Dr. Rao, please address the second question. The first question is already answered. Second question, in the name of democracy.
Yes. Posted two questions in the chat box. The first question is nearly answered during the course of the responses and the discussion that followed. So the second question that Professor Srinivasan raises is that in India, in the name of democracy, we are exploiting the ideas of secularism and freedom as enshrined in the Constitution. We are sticking up to what ideals to the roots. Rather, we are making an exploitation of these ideals. How do you see that? How do you see? Well, Professor Tarai or Uma Madam, anybody can respond to this.
Okay. Can I respond to it?
Yeah. Professor Tarai.
Yeah. Thank you for this question. I mean, this is the exact point that political interference is required. Now, what happens when you try to politicize the idea of secularism? There is this concept arises that is called crony secularism, right? So you try to add yourself to a particular group, and in the name of secularism, you try to politicize. Now, I was wondering, you talked about many other incidents, but in India we also have mob lynching, right? So, and you look at UP, and there are also charges against the minorities, and that is also a fact. Now, whenever we try to talk about, we have to universally talk about all these things, and we have to take a straightforward principle of, be it in the name of Uniform Civil Code or whatever it may be. So do it in that way. So there is no disagreement with you, sir, but at the same time, we need to also talk about each and every part of this problem equally. So that is my submission. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Professor Tarai. Well,
may I seek a reply from Dr. Uma Chattopadhyay, please?
Carry on, sir. Carry on. You want to ask something, sir?
No, Dr. Srinivasan ji.
Yes.
Is expecting the response of Madam.
Yes.
Madam,
I also think that, as I have mentioned in my presentation, that there was no such word secular in our original constitution. It was taken at one time. So there was no such problem for bringing the notion of secularism or secularization, nothing. But it came.
Sorry, madam, it is enshrined in the constitution, please.
Yes.
Sorry, madam, it is enshrined in our constitution also.
No, in the later period it came. Originally it was not there. It was taken into the...
Ma'am, the word may not be there, but the form, the conception is there.
Yes, because dharma in Indian context is like that. It is all comprehensive.
Sorry, madam, मेरा एक मिनट में इसी पॉइंट पे कुछ कहना चाह रहा हूँ. मेरा हालांकि वीडियो इन्होंने ऑफ किया हुआ है. I tried but we couldn't do. पर तभी मैं एक बात कहना चाहता हूँ. विटगेनस्टाइनियन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से विटगेनस्टाइन ने एक बात कही है, डोंट लुक फॉर द मीनिंग, लुक फॉर द यूज. अब ये बात बहुत सही है कि धर्म इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अलग मीनिंग रखता है. आई 100% हैज एन एग्रीमेंट ऑन दिस पॉइंट. बट दूसरी बात ये भी सही है, जब हम ये कहते हैं कि सर्वधर्म संभाव, देन ये क्लियर होता है कि तब वो सर्वधर्म संभाव जो ऑर्गेनाइज्ड रिलीजन है या कम्युनिटीज हैं उनके बीच में है, ना कि वो धर्म जो ड्यूटी वाले, मॉरल ड्यूटी वाले कॉन्टेक्स्ट में है या रित वाले कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, उसमें बात नहीं हो रही. अगर कॉन्टेक्स्ट बात क्लियर करता है, लैंग्वेज का यूज बात क्लियर करता है, तो क्यों हम बार बार उसी चीज पे अड़े रहते हैं कि अगर धर्म हो जाता है, ये गलत ट्रांसलेशन हो गई, जो भी कुछ हो गया है अब, पर उसको हम समझ तो पा रहे हैं. वी are able to make a sense that what is a dharma as a moral duty and what is a dharma when we use it in sarva dharma sambhav. So why don't Indian state function in the sense of sarva dharma sambhav? Why there is a majoritarianism in these days? Please do explain. Thank you.
So, Professor Sharma, this is very, very nice observation. But already we have made the discussion with Professor Ghosh that the point is this, that because we have the lack of learned persons in the constitutional meetings, you see, all the political leaders, persons, and they are sitting for making the decisions. And naturally, the limitations, when they have the limitations, and when some issues are given to the scientists or to these political, religious persons, etc., that is only piecemeal. What will be the solution? Please give the solution. Shankaracharya is given. No, this is not. They must have the holistic approach. What you are doing, when you are sitting, getting the seat of parliament. So they are not having the holistic idea. So how they will give the solution? If I don't go to the proper doctor, how can I get the medicine? This is becoming the problem. This is not, even now they are not conscious about this. So what I and you can do, we can do only the discussions and seminars, and net result is zero. So many seminars, just remember, we did on the issue of environment, that whether it is anthropocentric, non-anthropocentric, so many, lots of money were this consumed for such seminars. And you find that result is ultimately zero. And Corona has made the point very clear. Where is the solution of anthropocentric, non-anthropocentric, etc.? So it makes the point clear. The anthropocentric is very important to give the chance to live the human being. And the nature is now existing properly, but the human being's life is at stake. The same thing is happening in this case. We are debating on the issue of secularism. It is only in the seminars. But we are making a wall between the assembly and the constitutional persons in the constitution who have given the power. We have given them the power. But they are not consulting you. They are not consulting Srinivasan Krishnamurti ji or Professor Ghosh or Professor Tandon. I am leaving myself. So how they will get the holistic idea? They will think for the votes. And they will try to create problem among the people to get the piecemeal favor, their individual favor, their family favor only. Not for you and myself, poor self. We are existing in our own way, enjoying our academic discussions, that much.
Shall I add something, madam?
Yes, please.
The thing is, you see, when the Constituent Assembly, Ambedkar kept silent on this issue to enter secular in the preamble to the Constitution of India. But the word secular was entered after it is a post-emergency entrance.
Yes.
Through the article, through the amendment to the Constitution, Article 62 or something like that. I don't remember exactly right now.
Amendment 1976.
But this is just to, because the spirit itself is secular. Therefore, a person like Ambedkar, who was against the rituals of Hinduism, still he always supported Hinduism. He kept himself as a Hindu until his death. Just before 1 year of his death, he embraced Buddhism. He was mostly tortured by Hinduism, but he said that Hinduism is the only religion that can solve the problems of India. And so also Gandhi said Hinduism is such a concept, and we know Vivekananda.
No, sir, Ambedkar didn't said this.
So that is the thing. We all, our intelligentsia, they kept themselves always cryptic to be vocal about this religion, the Sanatana Dharma, the spirit of Hinduism. That is the problem, because they are vote bank politics and minority appeasement. These things are the problems of Indian secularism. So those things I want to refer. And the one thing I'm mentioning, whether some of you are aware of it or not, one PIL has already been filed in the Supreme Court to do away with the word secular from the preamble to the Constitution of India. Because that very word creates all sorts of problems. It creates more problem than bringing any solution to it.
Yes, so nice.
So that is the situation. Thank you.
Good information, sir. Very good information.
Sir, please enlighten me. Where did Ambedkar say that Hinduism is the solution to all the problems? Please tell me the text, because I haven't read any at any place. He rather said that Hinduism is antithetical to democracy. Watertight casteism, caste departments are there. So it is antithetical to democracy, where equal participation is possible. So please tell me where he has said this thing, that Hinduism is the solution of all the problems of India. Please tell me the name of the text.
Dr. Rao.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the observation, Professor Neeraj Sharma. This discussion will take on long, and many viewpoints will come out, and it's time. It's really 9, so we should end up here. And this because many things can come out, but it's time now. I should thank both the speakers, Dr. Tarai, for proposing very nicely, technically, the idea of secularism. He did not carry on his talk in a general manner. He took in a very technical sense. He took it's a form of a debate and seeing both the sides, and so that's the originality in Dr. Tarai. I have seen him once taking some issue in that manner. So that's how some originality has been filled in his paper, in his talk on debating secularism. I should thank him and for his ideas on secularism. Well, certain amendments, certain changes are required. Well, he developed this talk into a paper and submits to for the edited book, Philosophical Perspectives. I think the ideas that came in during the course of the discussion, that he will incorporate those in developing his article for submitting to the edited book entitled Philosophical Perspective. So I also thank Professor Uma Chattopadhyay, Madam, for taking her stance to giving a priority to dharma rather than to religion, and she tries to defend herself. And well, based on the discussion, based on whatever has happened, I request Dr. Chattopadhyay to develop her talk into a full-fledged paper so that she can submit to the edited volume of Philosophy Family entitled Philosophical Perspectives, that is likely to come during December. Yes, somebody saying something. Well, Thank you both the speakers for your nice talks. I also thank Dr. Alok Tandon sir, Dr. Rajit Ghosh sir, Dr. Srinivasan Krishnamurthy sir, and all those who participated, and Neeraj Sharma sir, and all those who participated during the interaction session and made this made both the talks so lively. And also thank Dr. Hindu Khanduri madam for participating in our training and making this so lively. And also thank all the participants, and also thank our coordinator Dr. Kalachandra Maharana sir, and also our admin Dr. Pramod Kumar for initiating, carrying on all the activities for making so nice webinars in philosophy family. So I thank once again all of you, and thank you all. Now over to Pramod Das sir to declare the meeting closed.
Dr. Rao, we need 2 days of seminar like this, not 1 hour discussion on this important subject, please.
Okay, we'll think of that. Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Over to Professor Das to declare the meeting closed.
Yes, now we declare this meeting closed.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Both of these.
কলার বড়া তালে বড়া কলার বড়া
Thank you, madam, for the wonderful lecture.